Former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Begum Khaleda Zia, was the first woman Prime Minister of Bangladesh. Her loss is not just a loss for the people of Bangladesh today, but the entire region. We have seen Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressing condolences at her passing away in Dhaka in the wee hours today. We have with us advisor to the chairperson of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, Dr Ziauddin Hyder. You have also been a senior member of the World Bank. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Namrata. Thanks for connecting with me.
It is indeed a sad moment, not just for your party and people of Bangladesh, but we are also seeing a great visionary in the region who helped restore democracy after tumultuous military rule in Bangladesh decades ago. And she was holding the post of Prime Minister for 3 terms. What would you say today? How is the family really reacting to this great loss coming at a time when Tarique Rahman himself just reached Dhaka days ago?
A star just fallen. This morning, Bangladesh, heard one of the worst news in our recent history. Begum Khaleda Zia actually died at around 6 a.m. Today. And we woke up, Bangladesh woke up with a very heavy heart. Entire country is in mourning. We mourn, and also not just Bangladesh, but Bangladeshi community across the world, and non-Bangladeshis also across the world who are familiar of Begum Khaleda Zia's historic thoughts. All of them are mourning. So I think we are a bit speechless. I was in chairperson's office of Bangladesh Nationalist Party an hour back. Hundreds and thousands of people are there. They are still coming. They know that they wouldn't be able to see their leader, but they are reciting from the Holy Quran. Other people from other religion, using their own holy books. They are praying to the Almighty, to Allah, so that Begum Khaleda Zia can rest in peace and be in the best heaven that has been decided by great Allah.
As condolences are pouring in from the region, I take this time to talk about the contributions of Khaleda Zia, the foremost being restoration of democracy in Bangladesh after the military rule. If you can take us back to that time, what would be those moments that you remember today about her contribution?
Well, if one talks about Khaleda Zia's contribution, I'm sure it's going to take hours. She has contributed in many forms. She came stepped into politics when the entire country was at chaos. The entire country was ruled by the fascist, Hussein Muhammad Ershad, the President Hussein Muhammad Ershad. The entire country was at loss. And she came in, she tried to unite the country. She tried to unite the BNP. And then later on, she basically emerged herself as the leader, who was kind of become a symbol to fight for democracy. And finally, with her non-negotiable leadership, President Ershad had to go. The fascists had to go. An free and fair election happened back in 1991, and she became the first woman prime minister, of Bangladesh. And she introduced parliamentary form of government. She turned the country back from presidential form of government to parliamentary form of government. And then, she, as a prime minister, she did a number of reforms. She did number of cutting edge development initiatives. Just to give you an example, I wrote about this number of times. The food or cash for education program is really a cutting edge social protection, education, women's empowerment, whatnot type of program that retain girls into schools. Each and every family used to receive uh, food or equivalent cash support in return of sending and retaining their girl child in schools. And as a result, the female enrollment across the entire country dramatically increased. And because of the intention in schools, female participation in labor force significantly increased. Today, the RMG sector, which is the number one foreign currency earner, number one export item in the country, is run by millions of young female uh, skilled workers, and without this program being in place, I don't know how much it could have happened. And as a cumulative factor, the fertility sharply declined in Bangladesh because female they are retained in schools, they participated in labor force way more than before, and that made significant contribution in reducing fertility. So I just give you one example. This cutting edge program, has been evaluated by a number of international partners, national research entities, and this has been replicated in a number of countries. For example, the largest country in Africa, Nigeria, they replicated this food cash for education program. And I actually spoke with one of the Nigerians as a World Bank staff, and I actually encountered one person who was benefited, from this program, and she was actually a colleague of mine in the Nigeria World Bank office. So I can move on and keep on telling so many other things like how she boosted the economy in Bangladesh, the industrialization in Bangladesh. I mentioned about the garment sector, also pharmaceutical sector, export earning sector now, and also it's one of the most vibrant sector that is catering domestic demand. The leather industry, the shoes which are going across many countries. I think India being one of the largest importer of Bangladeshi shoes. So there are so many other things that you can tell, like in agriculture, achieving food self-sufficiency. During her time, the first national nutrition program called Bangladesh Integrated Nutrition Project was launched back in 94, 95. And the whole reason was to reduce malnutrition in young children and women so that we can have a prosperous, more productive nation in medium to long term. So these are few examples of multi-dimensional development initiatives that Begum Khaleda took for Bangladesh.
Begum Khaleda Zia also worked towards strengthening India-Bangladesh ties. Several strides in trying to bring both countries together for more peaceful and prosperous cooperation. In several sectors was taken during successive regimes of the BNP, headed by Begum Khaleda Zia. How do you see Tariq really taking this forward? And for the first time, we're going to see elections where there is no woman prime ministerial candidate.
BNP historically believes in regional cooperation. Believes in peaceful coexistence, with other neighbors. And for that reason, Shoaib President Ziauddin Rahman, during his 3.5 year presidency, he was basically the mastermind, to form the SARC. And Begum Khaleda kept on, moved on, and she tried to strengthen SARC. She believed in balanced relationship between across India, with Bhutan, with Nepal, with Sri Lanka, with other neighbors. I think she did very successful diplomacy with India to make sure that Bangladesh, India are equally benefited from each other's cooperation, including sharing of the water from the Ganges and many other unresolved issues that she was very successful in protecting countries' sovereignty, countries' interest, and also to meet people's expectation, because managing people's expectation may not be always too easy, not for her own country, but also people's expectation that comes from other country as well. So she really pursued a very balanced foreign policy. I also remember that her policy, improved or reduced the tension between Bangladesh and Myanmar on Rohingya issues. She was very successfully, she was able to send the refugees back to Myanmar with her very strong and engaged diplomatic ties with Myanmar. Um, she did tremendous amount of diplomacy with the Middle Eastern countries to export Bangladeshi migrant workers into those countries, expanding Bangladeshi market for ready-made garments. She pursued very balanced diplomacy with the United States, with European markets, so that Bangladeshi goods could enter into those markets and earn foreign currency. Um, Yes, and I think the same you will see the same pattern in moving on from now, building on from the past experience. I'm sure under leadership of Mr. Tarique Rahman, if Bangladeshi people decides to kind of elect Bangladesh Nationalist Party, to run the country, to manage the country, I'm sure as the future Prime Minister, Mr. Tarique Rahman also has plans to kind of build on for past legacy and expand, balance relationship, mutually benefiting relationship with India, with Nepal, with Myanmar and other neighboring countries in this region and also countries beyond South Asia.
If I may ask, how was her, reaction to the kind of change that Bangladesh has undergone in the last 1.5 year? What was her thinking, and what was that really pained her over this entire period?
Well, Begum Khaleda Zia was always a pro-democratic, pro-people person. She is kind of like our mother. Many Bangladeshis who may not be strong supporters of BNP still they love Begum Khaleda Zia. She actually put herself beyond the party boundary as the national guardian. I think other political parties equally respected her. So she was a very strong voice. She was a symbol of national unity. Uh, and that's how people love to see her. But over the past 1.5 year, I don't want to go into detail, but she was, as badly treated by the past regime, the fascist Hasina regime. She was imprisoned. She was kept in isolation. She was not given access to right proper health care, proper medicine, and because of all these factors, she basically fall seriously sick, and for over the last more than a year or so, she has been suffering from severe conditions with multiple organ failure. As I told you in my past interview, that I really thank the Bangladeshi doctors that within all the limitations, they really did the best. They pulled all the resources from across the world, and to make sure that they could provide best treatment to Begum Khaleda Zia. But finally, she left us this morning. I'm sure her legacy will be remembered by Bangladesh and countries across the world for many years to come. I'm sure we lost our guardian, and it's irrecoverable loss. We cannot recover this kind of thing. I don't know if we're going to have a future leader who will have the similar, feeling, similar way of treating everyone equally, and being so inclusive, the way Begum Khaleda was in years to come.
So my last question, as you mentioned, of course, the generational change in the BNP now, with Tariq being your prime ministerial candidate of the BNP. Throughout his exile period, what was Khaleda's one message to her son during that entire period? And what does he really take forward from that vision that Khaleda left and now Tariq would take forward?
I think, well, I wouldn't know what was discussed between the mother and son, but Khaleda Zia loved Bangladesh, and she was a true pro-Bangladeshi nationalist. She wanted to spend her life in Bangladesh. She never wanted to spend her life outside Bangladesh. She had many opportunities to go out, but she never did. She always told everyone that if I die, I would like to die in Bangladeshi soil. So she was a symbol of stability. She was a symbol of, compassion. And I'm sure this is the message she, used to deliver to his son as well. And that is reflected actually in the way Mr. Tarique Rahman has been leading Bangladesh Nationalist Party, the way he has been, treating people in Bangladesh, treating with respect, treating with inclusivity, treating with stability. That's what he wanted to also make sure that the country remains stable, and people become more. How do I? How do I? Um, yeah, I mean, so that's the sort of message I'm sure the mother used to deliver to her son.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ziauddin Hyder, for joining us. And as India and Bangladesh together mourn the death of the great visionary leader, we will join you again for another conversation. Thank you for speaking with the We.
Thank you, Namrata. Thank you very much.